Welcome to the Millbrook Railroad, and today we're at the Shady Pines Railroad with our little tool from our pals at Moasure, the Moasure 2 Pro. And we're going to map the whole railroad today. Something I haven't done, I don't know why, but we're going to fix that today. It is at start, it is ready. Now we shall proceed. On this section where I just replaced ties, right down here. Now the Moasure 2 Pro is a Bluetooth device that hooks to your phone, and it measures individual points in 3 dimensions based on your starting location. And so far we've got 25.1 feet down the track. We've got a long way to go. I hear the bumblebees in the bush here, in the rhododendron. It's pretty cool. I love this time of year. Ooh, tripping over bricks. There are low clearances here on the Shady Pines Railroad. This long trestle starts the grade up to the barn. A lot of tripping hazards on the trestle today. You always have to watch your step going over this drawbridge. The spot right around here is the steepest part of the grade. You're going to see it on the plot. Exactly how steep it is. So from this point right here up to this point right here, 8.1%. The station is named West Garth, and it's named that because the owner of the railroad, Tony Rodenike, grew up near West Garth Station in Melbourne, Australia. And you're probably noticing a mix of rail types. There's flat bar, groovy track, there's 5/8 inch rail, and there's 1 inch rail. This hill right here was the first part of the railroad that Tony built. He hired a guy with an excavator to dig into the side hill and make something that he could actually build a railroad down and run his lawnmower up and down beside the track. One thing I like about the Shady Pines here is the alyssum growing on the side of the hill here. It is a really pretty railway, but it is right in the middle of town. You might hear some of the background noise we've got. It's a fairly lively little neighborhood, which isn't a bad thing. It actually adds to the character of the place. Now up the switchback. Now the switchback is the beginning of the logging branch, and this was the most recent part of the railroad that Tony built, just a couple of years ago actually. Now, the Moasure doesn't expect you to double back on yourself, so I did a little cheat with this one here. And I just looped around and placed it on the diverging track. That's why there's that little loop in the plot. Now, if you pay close attention, you'll notice that this really is built like a logging branch. Tony cut down some trees and used it to hold up the track and the ballast, and then held those up with some posts. Of course, he cemented those in, but it's the same basic idea. It's definitely a logging branch, along with close clearances and snaking around trees and everything. At 6.7%, this little grade is the second steepest on the whole line. Now, to show you how frugal Tony was, this trestle that we're about to go over, it's the second trestle on the line. It's made from downed trees and any other wood that was lying around. And at the other end of this trestle, we go between two large trees. And as we approach the end of the track, there's more timber cribbing and an area that there's not enough room for the camera and myself to occupy. So let's see how the overall plot came out. We start by the switch and go around the house, and that will cover the loop around the house where you see all the neighbors' houses. Around the corner by the maple tree that we had to duck for, and then up the trestle. Around the sharp curve and up the steep grade behind West Scarth Station. Up the other grade, up to the barn. And now we're heading up the switchback. And we're doubling back and heading up the logging branch. Down the second steepest grade on the line, around a couple of sharp curves, across the trestle between the two trees, and off to the end of the track. So what's the result? Well, the railroad is 1,153.65 feet with an elevation change of 21.69 feet. That's what makes the Shady Pines one of the steepest railroads I've ever been to. It's actually the second steepest railroad I've ever been to, and I actually helped build it. Well, the part that I didn't map is inside the barn. Let me show you that. So we'll start going off the switchback here. This is actually the main line. Going right into the barn, into a three-way switch, and a three-track indoor yard. Off to the right, we have a track that goes all the way into this turntable here, and then that's car storage. So you'll see Ospey Central cars here, you'll see some Millbrook Railroad cars here. This is not all Shady Pines equipment. A good majority of the Millbrook Railroad equipment is here. And that's the Shady Pines Railroad. Hope you enjoyed this look at mapping the railroad from end to end and looking inside the massive barn that holds the yard. Also, thanks to our sponsor for today's video, Moasure, and their Moasure 2 Pro. You can check that out in the link below and in the description. And if you would like to help support this channel in a more substantial way, other than just clicks and shares, you can always go to Patreon, patreon.com/Millbrook Railroad. It really does help keep the channel going. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.